Morning guys, Rocker here. Want to do a little bit of a talk. This is going to be a rant, so I'm giving you a little bit of a warning in advance, okay? Right now, if you're looking with the Trudeau government, the NDP, their whole basically hobby horse right now is climate change. Everything revolves around climate change. When Trudeau went over to Europe and he was talking to our troops, Canadian troops over in Latvia, he wasn't talking about as far as NATO that, he was talking about climate change. When he came home here and he's talking about the housing crisis and what's happening with all the homes that are being burnt down and the forest fires out west, he's talking about climate change. When he's talking about as far as food and the fact that food prices are high and everything else, he's talking about climate change. When he's talking about as far as any kind of energy sector or whatever, it's climate change. When he sends Guilbeault, which is Canada's environment minister, over to China in order to talk to them about climate change or what they should do or whatever, it's all climate change. Like, this is the only platform that the Liberals have to go on. And it's something that's not sustainable, but at the same time, there's no real answers to it. You know, everyone says, oh, the science is there. No one can give us an actual timeline. When, with this global boiling that's going on now, when all that's actually going to happen. Nobody has a clue. These are just basically projections and guesses. Now, let's get into the brass tacks of it. Okay. Canada emits 1.5% of the carbon emissions throughout the entire world. 1.5%. This Trudeau government wants to gut our oil and energy sector. This Trudeau government wants to gut our agricultural sector. And this Trudeau government wants to gut as far as the electrical grid and our natural resources. Okay, so right now they have a target set for 3035. They want emissions to be dropped by 35%. So right now we're at 1.5% of global emissions. If we drop that by 35%, that drops it 0.4%. So from going from 1.5%, we're going down to 1.1%. That's it. So we're still emitting 1.1% of the world's emissions, which basically means that 98.9% of all the emissions that are happening globally are the rest of the world. 98.9%. But Canada's gutting its energy sector, its agricultural sector, its electrical grid, and its mining sector in order to be able to achieve these goals so that Trudeau could say, oh, look at me, I'm a woke minister, prime minister, look what I did. I came up with some numbers and I'm trying to hit these numbers. Secondly, we need to remember is that every target that Trudeau has ever set, he has missed. Whether it be the Paris Accord, whether it be the Oslo Accord, any target that he's ever set, he's missed. Remember when he promised he was going to plant 2 billion trees? That was an electoral promise that he made. Oh, we're gonna plant 2 billion trees, and that will help with the environment. How's that going? That's just fucking planting trees. That's not building anything. That's just planting trees, and he can't even hit that target. And yet we're supposed to believe him about, oh, geez, we need to do this. This will save the world and everything else. It doesn't. In fact, it does the exact opposite. And the reason why is, what is Canada shipping over to China now more than any other country? Coal. So we're gutting our energy sector, our agricultural sector, our electrical grid, and our mining sector. Meanwhile, we're shipping coal over to China so that they can keep their economy booming. And what happens with that coal? It emits more carbon into the atmosphere. So we're actually making the atmosphere worse by shipping coal to China. Okay? Think about that. Secondly, by shutting down our gas and oil industry, where is Canada getting its gas and oil from? Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, is all these other countries that are basically dictatorial countries that have terrible humanitarian rights, and yet we're importing oil from them because we're shutting down our own. Does that help as far as the carbon emissions around the world? No. Their oil's dirtier. And number one, we're basically propping up dictatorial, authoritarian regimes in the process. Does that make any sense? No, it doesn't. So it just boils my blood. Canada, we need to wake up. Is that everything that this liberal NDP government's doing is a complete farce, and everything that they're saying, oh, this is going to help the environment, no, it doesn't. It does the exact opposite. We are increasing production for China so that they can continue to pollute at a God's no rapid pace as far as shipping coal to them to keep their plants going so that they can basically make all these cheap goods. We're importing oil from Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, all these other countries that basically that treat their citizens like shit and are basically dictatorial, authoritarian regimes, and we're propping them up in the process. Meanwhile, as Canadians, we're getting fucked over left, right, and center. Agriculture is being gutted, and oil and energy is being gutted, mining's being gutted, and our electrical grid's being gutted. Now, what would happen if Canada says we're not going to send coal anymore, but we're going to give you clean energy like gas or whatever? What would happen to the world if actually Canada stepped up and actually became an actual leader as far as wanting to combat climate change? Started combating as far as all these authoritarian regimes. We could easily send our oil and gas, which is a hell of a lot cleaner than what Venezuela, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia are making. We could send that to all these other countries, China, India, whatever, and to be able to get them to lean off and to be able to stop using coal. What do you think that would do for the environment? It'd be a hell of a lot better. So Canada basically are 0.4%. compared to, say, China or India dropping their emissions by 15-20% because we got rid of all their coal because we were able to provide them with the sustainable, clean fuel. Not only that, what would that do to the Canadian economy? We would be booming. We would be making money left over right, fist over fist. We'd be making money at the same time we'd be helping the environment. As far as our mining sector, why are we buying batteries from China that are made of coal plants? The energy is generated from coal plants? That does not make any sense at all. And where's China getting some of these raw materials from? From Africa. It does not make sense. We have everything right here in our own country. And yet we're farming all these things out to all these other countries that are doing a hell of a worse job as far as polluting, and we're encouraging them to pollute even more. I don't know. Maybe this is just too simple. Make me a politician. Right now, make me a friggin' politician, and I will get down to work, and I will actually roll up my sleeves, not just talk about it as I'm eating lobster and caviar, but I'll roll up my sleeves and kick Gilbold in the ass and get him out of there. The guy is a complete farce. One other thing, I'll leave it at this, okay? The carbon tax. Our carbon taxes are being increased. We have taxes on carbon taxes now. What has that done for the environment? Tell me. What has it done for the environment? Has our emissions dropped at all? No. So why do we have them? The United States doesn't have them. Mexico doesn't have them. Why does Canada have them? Is basically carbon taxes are bringing down our economy. It's making things a hell of a lot more expensive. And it's not helping the environment at all. So why the fuck are we calling it a carbon tax when it does nothing as far as eliminating carbon? Anyway, that's my beef. Make me a politician today. I will do it for $1. Pay me $1 a year, and let's get all this stuff under control. And just use common sense, like just government. And this is going to be their whole platform. The next election, this is all you're going to hear from Trudeau going out from here on out is the climate change. The world's ending. Global.